Okay, great. So welcome everyone to the Economic Development and Government Affairs First Friday Forum. I'm going to quickly turn this over to our co-host, which is David Beal, and he's going to introduce our guest today, which is Ann Gannon of the Palm Beach County Tax Collector's Office. So David, over to you.
Oh, good morning, everybody. How is everybody this beautiful morning? It's sunny out here in beautiful West Boca, except I got caught by a rain shower passing by with the dogs, but it's still beautiful. So I've known Ann for probably over 20 years, and okay, she is in her fourth term as tax collector, and she has done a wham bang job of it. Anybody remembers pre-Ann Gannon, you couldn't get anybody on the phone in the tax collector's office. The website didn't work most of the time, and God knows where the money went. But Ann, in her terms, has really brought high tech. I think it's a new building. She's developed a spirit de corps among her employees, treating them like actual human beings who are valued to work for the county. And there's no one that can say more things about in government service today than Ann Gannon. Ann has also served 6 terms in the Florida legislature. But also what you need to know about Ann is she is a real caring person who loves people and who loves her neighborhood, loves Delray, and loves Palm Beach County. She has sat on more boards than I think there are in Palm Beach County today. She's active in her homeowners. She's active on, was active on the board of JFK, Pineapple Grove, avid gardener, cares for the community. She's always at community events. So she is, and she's a great friend. So anybody who knows Ann has a great friend in her. So with nothing else to say but superlatives, I'll turn it over to Ann as tax collector. Good morning, Ann.
Good morning, David, and I'll send you your check tomorrow for all those kind things that you said.
Oh, it's a rebate. I want a rebate on my taxes.
Well, see, I can't do that. Thank goodness, because I'd have people calling me every day. And our office has changed, or I would hope it would change in the 4 terms I've been in office. And there's just a couple things I want to talk to you about this morning. One is our COVID-19 update. I know everybody thinks that that's really gone away, but it hasn't. And TCO servicing in our office and the 2021 property tax season, the numbers, the tourist development tax short-term rentals, which affect the city of Delray Beach a lot, more than you know. In your neighborhood. And then some tax collector accomplishments and priorities. And I have to tell you that my new communications director, he has really pushed our agency forward in doing things in the community and entering our agency and the work that we do in programs and gotten many awards. We laugh at him at our senior leadership meeting. When he comes in, everyone looks around and go, okay, did you get another award today? The door in your office has to get a little bigger so you can get your head in there. So it's kind of a joke we have, but if you want to flip the slides up, Samantha, I would appreciate that. And go to, I think, page 3. Okay, the next one. And just a little discussion about COVID-19, because most people think that it's gone away. But we're seeing cases rise in Palm Beach County, and they're averaging around 1,200 a day. We continue to monitor the reports as that trend is expected to continue and reach a peak in September and October. We've even seen an increase in number of employees who have been tested and tested positive for COVID. Whether it's the new strain or not, we don't ask that question. It affects our workplace because you have to stay home until you test negative, which is typically from 3 to 5 days. So it's an employee that's not there to actually work in our office. So we are continuing our evaluation of potential reintroduction of facial coverings for staff and clients as necessary. And those things are not punitive, even though the governor thinks they are at times. They're not. They're basically to keep our employees at work and to keep COVID from being passed from our clients to our employees, because without my employees, the office would close. We currently have a shortage of 10 people in our Delray Beach office. While we have some out on regular kinds of leave, we, as many private entities, are experiencing high turnover and also very difficult rehiring of people or hiring people. I think the job market is a job market for people seeking jobs, and it's affected all of us, all the businesses. And we've had to increase our salaries, and we've changed some of our benefits to actually retain our employees. So our employees this year are going to get a 6% raise. And that's really based on what the legislature did for all employees. I think they gave 5.38 and the county gave 6. And the Department of Revenue, who's the agency that approves our budget, we either have to go with the county figure or we have to go with the state figure. We can't just create our own salary structure. So there are some limits on what we can do for our employees, but they'll be excited to get 6%, let me tell you, because they typically get 3. But it's really in looking at what's going on in the marketplace and what we have to do to retain our employees. We believe that's a trend that we need to follow this year. Do you want to turn the page to page 4? As you know, with our shift to appointments, after the first year of COVID, we actually have reduced our wait times about 30 minutes, and we moved out many more transactions to the internet, which has always been our goal, and it's been very difficult to achieve. And COVID actually helped us do that so that people don't come in our offices, which is very difficult. And our in-person wait times, and you can see what this has done for us. The only issue that we do have is potentially a person who has an emergency where they lose their driver's license. And there is a process for us to get them in the office as quickly as possible so that we can reissue their driver's license so that they can drive legally in our state. We've worked some of that out. I know in our West Palm Beach office, those people who don't have appointments and have emergencies are actually served at 8 a.m. in the morning. In our other offices, they're actually served about 4:15 in the afternoon. So appointments have worked out well for us. We still have people who don't understand why we've done that. Frankly, I always say it's no longer a circus in our office with kids and dogs and people on their cell phones. You now have to have an appointment, and there are only so many people allowed in our office. So it's worked well for us, and we're not going to change it. Or as long as I'm there, we're not going to change it. Do you want to change the page? I think the biggest issue, and another issue with the problem with appointments or the challenges is when you receive your driver's license, it's typically your driver's license renewal, your title or registration. It's typically you receive it 90 days prior to the deadline or to your birthday. Many people pay no attention to it, and then they're in a crisis when they need to get in our office. And the most challenging driver's license appointments are, of course, our young people. Our teenagers who are getting their road test, and those back up because we typically, if it rains or our system goes down, all of our appointments have to be canceled. And the appointment, actually the software we use does not belong to us. It belongs to the state of Florida. And they have the Department of Motor Vehicles. In the last 6 months, they've actually put all their records up in the cloud because they had a very difficult time staying online 8 hours a day. and it affects everything in our office because we have to cancel appointments because our system's down. We have to call every person on that list and reschedule them. So it's a great deal of time in our office. But these are the average wait times for an appointment for these transactions. So when you get your driver's license renewal, if you don't have to come in our office, and there are times under the statute that you have to come in, your driver's license is typically good for 8 to 10 years. And after that, they want to see your face so they can take a picture, so they can understand how we've aged. I'm not sure why they need that, but to identify us, should we get picked up for speeding or parking somewhere we shouldn't. The other issue with driver's licenses and titles and registration, if you get a stop on your license, you cannot renew it without getting that stop removed. And there are people who swear they didn't know they had a parking ticket and they didn't pay it. And when they come in our office or they try and renew it online, they can't do it because they either have to go to the clerk's office or they have to come to our office to be able to pay that parking fine, the ticket and the fine, either on their driver's license or on their title or registration. The legislature last session actually set up a new process for that most of those are going to be done in the clerk's office. And then they will have to come to us to get their driver's license renewed. So if you have a friend who says, oh my, I can't renew, they won't let me, he or she needs to ask why, because typically there are issues with their license. And some of them are very challenging to actually take care of. We have people that move here from other states and they never believe they'll get caught with an unpaid parking ticket. Unfortunately, we have a system that's nationwide now and you have to pay it. You really have to go back to the town that issued it and pay it. We can't do that for you. There are only certain kinds we can do in our office, and the rest, if it's an out-of-state, you really have to go back to the state and the city or the county where it was written. So after you do that and get it cleared, then we can actually assist you in that and getting your license current. So would you, and this is really something all of you know, how the property appraiser determines your property taxes. It's the value of the property that they assess. And the assessment is for the previous year. It's not the current year. It's as of January 1st. And it's minus the exemptions, which is your homestead. It could be a widow's exemption. It could be any number of exemptions that are in law. And most of the time, the homestead exemption is the most valuable. If you're a widow and you get an exemption, it went up last year, the legislature passed an addition to it. It means you might get $25. It's not a big amount of money, even though everybody thinks it is. But that takes you then to your taxable value, and then your taxable value times your millage rates. And the millage rates are determined by each entity that sets their own millage rates based on their budget, just like the county did this year, and they decreased their millage rate. I don't know what the city is going to do. I haven't really paid that much attention to what they're talking about doing but it's typically based on your budget and how you fund the issues. I know the city, the capital improvement for the water program, our new water system, is being added as a fee to your water bills versus a capital expenditure in the budget. Whether that's right or wrong, I don't know, but it's something your city commissioners made a determination. I would have looked at it more as a capital improvement and funded it that way, but I'm not in charge up there. And I don't have a vote, but hopefully people will pay attention. And that is your property tax times your millage rate. And then we actually mail the property tax bills where you should be. Today is August the 5th. In 10 days, you should be receiving your trim notice. Your trim notice is your truth and millage that's required under Florida statutes. The property appraiser actually prints that and sends it out. The property appraiser, once they do that, you have 30 days to actually protest or to file an action against the trim notice. And I will tell you, there are some people who do that, but there are less than 3% of those people who challenge their property taxes who win on this issue, because you really have to prove that your house is not valued correctly, and you have to do a number of things and look at all the housing in your neighborhood. Most people don't understand that we have a 3% cap on our property taxes, and they challenge because theirs is higher than their neighbor, and they just moved in last year, and it actually goes to the fair market value when you sell your house. So your millage rate, your taxable value times your millage rate would be higher than your neighbor who's lived there 15 or 20 years. And I would hate to tell you what I pay for taxes because I've lived here so long, and I'm in a historic district, but my increases are based on 3%. And it was pretty low when I started out, but this was a pretty struggling, challenging neighborhood when I moved here. So your non-ads, of course, are added to your property taxes. And your non-ads could be a special taxing district. It could be an issue that some city set up or whatever, and that equals your annual taxes. And as I said, we mail the bills. We get the file that's uploaded to us the 1st of September, and then we start preparing tax bills. And before your tax bill, of course, can be sent out, we have to balance all that. And there have been times when we haven't balanced, but we have a drop dead date when that has to be mailed so that it hits by the earliest date, November the 1st, but we typically are maybe a week ahead of that. And we do open our tax roll and allow people to start to pay as soon as their bills, as soon as we have our files from the property appraiser. So it's an interesting process. We actually mail the property tax bills, and it's funny because the cost of mailing the county pays, so they have to pay us to do that. There's all these little kinks in Florida statutes that you have to pay attention to. We do collect and distribute the funds based on the percentage of taxes we have collect for that entity. And there has to be, in the statute, there are specific times where we have to do distributions so that our cities and the county can actually run and I say it's a business because the city is a business, run their business. And if we would not distribute based on the times that are required in the statute, you could potentially shut the city down because they wouldn't have any money. But we haven't done that. The issues that we run into with our cities, some of them, and I can give Palm Beach, that's the town of Palm Beach as an example. They had a commissioner who did not want to approve the millage rate, so she stopped the process. And they had like a day and a half to have an emergency meeting to approve their millage rates. And if they hadn't gotten them to us, we wouldn't have put it on the tax bill. We would have required them to pay for a special mailing, or they could have done it themselves, but we still would have collected it. So all these dates are very important to the people at the end to use this data to send out and collect taxes for the county. You want to change the, and this is kind of, if you look at the mailed applications, I think this is the installment payment plan for those of us whose houses are paid off, or because you've worked with your mortgage company, you could actually pay 4 payments during the year. We do send out notices. And we have actually tried to shift, particularly people in areas that may have paid, their house is paid for and they live in a challenging neighborhood, tried to help them be able to pay their taxes by shifting to the installment payment plan. But you do have to sign up before April 30th to get in that plan. And we mail 3 times or 4 times a year to these people for payments. It's actually pretty easy to do that. And a lot of retired people do that too. Could we change the page, go to page 9? Or I think page 8 is, yeah, page 9. Obtain. Oh, can we go back to page 8? I'm sorry. This is just some information. That is page 7, the next page. That's it. We collected $4.2 billion last year in property taxes. And that includes all of the taxes that we handle, which is tourist development, tangible taxes, all of that. And a tangible tax is the tax that a business pays on the furniture and fixtures furniture and fixtures in their business. And I think there's a $25,000 exemption. So until your property is valued at over $25,000, you actually don't pay a tax rate on that. Palm Beach, and one of the things I always like to point out is everyone thinks $4.2 billion is a lot of money for the county. Over half of that budget, the sheriff gets. And the county has no input into that budget. So that is actually collected. And last year it was 973 million that went to the sheriff. So it's not like everyone thinks it's a lot of money for the county. It's really not when you look at our county and what they are required to fund. Municipalities, the healthcare taxing districts, our library system, which I believe is probably one of the best in the state, and the Florida Inland Navigational District. Now, the top 5 property owners are FP&L, which has got themselves in a lot of trouble lately. And Town Center at Boca, which is the mall, the Gardens Venture, which is the mall up there, and the Breakers in Palm Beach, and then the Boca Raton Hotel, which just completed a major upgrade to their hotel, which I understand is supposed to be beautiful. I haven't seen it yet, but eventually I will. Tourist development tax was created by state statute, and the county adopted an ordinance that allowed them to collect a tourist development tax. If you rent your home out, if it's your home or it's a room that you rent, there's a whole process. You have to establish a tourist development account. You have to have a local business tax receipt to operate that business because it is a business. And you have to remit payments by the 20th of every month. And we now have an online system where you can register and your payments can be paid through the system. In fact, we require that. You can't just walk in our office and pay them. You have to register and get all of these other things. We're down about $10 million, and we think it's still because of COVID, the results of COVID. Because if you look at 19 and 20, it was like $54 million we collected. It's an industry, let me say, as we were talking earlier, that's growing in our county, and it's not necessarily healthy for our communities. Not that I think people shouldn't be allowed to do that. What I do think is that it affects the housing market. But the question that I always get asked about homestead exemption and tourist development. And so if you read this one statement, it says any property that has a homestead exemption that is rented for more than 30 days for a year for 2 consecutive years, or that is rented for more than 6 months will lose their homestead exemption. Some people don't understand that, and we've had to be very clear. It does not matter whether you rent, you lose your homestead during this period. You still must register and get a business receipts tax and pay the money that you collect. And you're not paying this yourself. This money is actually rolled into what you charge the person who is renting your house. There's also a Florida sales tax that you have to register with the Department of Revenue and pay them the sales tax. And we actually take their files once every 3 months and smack them together and make sure we have all the people that are paying sales tax that should be paying bed tax here. We have a hotline for people to call us and actually tell us there are people in their neighborhood and check and see if they're registered and paying. The bed tax funds most of our cultural organizations and beach renourishment efforts. And as you all know, beach renourishment is critical to Palm Beach County because of the tourism that it attracts and the people that bring their families here, and their kids spend all day on the beach. So it's critical that we get all the money that we're due and it's dispersed in an appropriate manner so that all of these organizations benefit, and in turn our county benefits from it. So if you know of anyone who's renting and you don't think that they're registered, please give our office a call. We'll check it out and we'll go knock on the door. We have a project going here in Delray Beach right now because we've located a number of people that don't, even though in their tax bill they get a notice that says you have to pay. What we've discovered about those little notices is that no one reads them, they throw them in the trash. And I'm guilty of that too. So anyhow, and agents and property managers are people who haven't necessarily joined in and made sure the properties they're managing pay the taxes. We have a number of realtors and that don't give their clients the correct information. And when we catch up with them, they'll go, oh, my realtor said I don't have to do that. I could just ignore that. That's not true. And we've decided that we're going to do a workshop for realtors. And we'll probably have an opportunity in the next month because I'm going to speak to the Gulf Coast or this coast. I think the realtors of 3 counties that merged and talk about bed tax and why it's important. But the interesting part is I know that a number of you have to see these books that Palm Beach publishes, and it's got a huge house in there, and then it'll say temporary rentals available, but we look up the address and they haven't filed. The property owner themselves have not registered and filed. So we have to pay visits to those folks and talk to them, but it's a very tedious process, but we've got some really great staff there. And as you can see, that hotline is critically important, or you can email us and tell us, and we'll take care of that. The two exciting things in our office, of course, is we just opened a new service center in Westlake. And for those of you who are not familiar with Westlake, it was an old orange grove that the county did not want developed. And these property owners went to the legislature and created this city. So we were very fortunate to get in on the ground floor and get a piece of property to build a building out there, because that's where all the growth is going to come in Palm Beach County in the next 10 years. We did close our Royal Palm Beach office. We looked at the feasibility of keeping both open, but it made no sense in terms of cost because we were going to shift all the business. So and part of the problems with our Royal Palm Beach office is there was no parking. There's a limited amount of parking, and all the property around it is actually owned by the city, of course, and it's for their future development use. So we were kind of limited. We were stuck in this office that a county commissioner created in his district at the time. And you know, I understand why they did it, but it didn't meet the needs of our county in terms of the growth that's going to occur in the western part of our community. So that actually opened in February, and we finally got our building permit for Palm Beach Gardens. We've had a piece of property where the old DMV building was. We finally tore it down after it's sitting there for 5 years, and we moved our office. We actually had 2 offices that did just DMV, and then the rest of our business was done in the county government area that's up in Palm Beach Gardens. So now we've taken the property, we're moving all of our employees. This building should be done in early 2024, and we are really excited. We are looking for property in the western part of the community between Delray Beach and Boynton to actually move our Congress Avenue office because that's really the center, the population base right now. And it's probably going to stay that way because there's not much more that can be built in the southern part of our county. So we are looking for property there. We've got some folks looking for it. And we need 5 acres. So if anyone knows 5 acres or a farmer that we could purchase it from, so that we could begin to modernize our Delray Beach office, which and maybe none of you know this, but I met a gentleman during one of my campaigns that explained to me that that building on Congress Avenue used to be a church, which I did not know. And the church has moved out west, but it was pretty interesting that we have a tax office in it now that needs replaced badly. So we're working on that, and that should be our last building that we're building in Palm Beach, or the last one I anticipate us building. And now we come to our awards that my staff is so proud of, and they worked so hard on some of these. So if you want to turn the page to 12, oh, we're on 12. So we've won 7 communication and marketing awards for our printed materials and online social media campaigns. We began looking at our communications network about 4 years ago because we were missing something, and we needed to develop a better communication with our constituents and our clients that come in our office. And so we started looking at other avenues, but we've done well in the last 2 years since we actually got a new communications director. So, and we've gotten some awards you don't expect a tax agency to get. So my communication staff is working well, and we love what they do. And then we have this new mail processing machine, which we had to buy. And this is the first tax season that we will be using it. And why this is important is because our other machines, when we get mail in our office, if a person staples, writes on a piece of mail, or doesn't use the coupon or the envelope that we've sent them, that mail has to be pulled out and hand posted. This machine has some, this machine will enable us to actually run more of those through our high-speed processing center. And it's I know that people say, oh, why is that so important? Because if somebody sends us a check, within 2 days, they call us and say, why isn't it posted? I paid my taxes. And we're trying to decrease the calls so that we can do the real business of our agency instead of answering calls about why my check is not posted. And this should actually help us do that. And we're excited. As I said, this is our first year for using this piece of equipment for our direct mail that we get. One of the other issues that our agency that I'm really proud of, because you have to recognize that my employees don't get paid millions of dollars, but they are so generous. We do have 2 charities that they choose. We have an election that allows them to nominate and vote on and choose the charities. And we're working with Living Hungry. This is the organization that was created to feed the homeless children and to get other items for them. Like next month, we're doing a sock drive for them. They say that last year we collected like 350 pairs of socks, which enabled the homeless children to have a clean pair of socks every day before they had to wash them. So it's just amazing what little things that you can do for charities that means so much to these kids. It was amazing to us, but we work with that organization and Making Every Day Count, which is an organization that works with foster kids through the court system. And so that's been very good for us. It makes my employees feel great too, to be able to help. This is our call center. We are enlarging the call center. We're trying to hire 10 new people here. We did enlarge it during COVID, added more, recreated the whole center so it was more efficient. And I think we have 3 new employees coming on, but that means that we can actually answer more calls because we get 40,000 calls a month. That's a lot of calls, and we answer about 62%. So adding these employees will actually give us the ability to add additional employees or to answer additional calls. But, we have 2 avenues that you can get in to see us. One is you can go on the website and go to our client advocate and email us, and we have to respond to you. The standard we set up was you have to respond within 48 hours to the issue the client has brought up, or you can actually just call our office. And if you're one of those 62% of people that gets a live operator, you can actually get assistance that way. Most of the information that people call about is on our website. But as I'm sure many of you know, some people don't read and they want you to do it all. So it's a little frustrating because it costs the taxpayer money and they don't even realize what they're doing. That if you would go on our website, there's so many ways and spend some time looking at it. Most of the questions they call about are answered on our website. So anyhow, we're working on that. We know that's a challenge, our call center. We have a new call center director. We actually stole him from Broward County, from their call center in Broward County. We're so pleased to get him. He's really kind of changed the whole atmosphere in our call center, where people didn't feel valued and they didn't feel supported, but he's been really good at that. So this is our commitment actually to the public. Oh, it's a doggy. Our commitment is to provide exceptional service, and we know we're not there, but we sure are trying hard. HR has been challenging to focus on filling vacant positions. On board our new comprehensive CRM system to manage client advocacy inquiries each month, and implement the latest update to property tax software, which we're actually going live with that August 12th, hopefully. and engage with the state of Florida to stabilize their software systems. They still have challenges, and you have to admit that an agency that handles 14 or 15 million records is got to be challenged maintaining the stability of their software systems. And then the other project we've been working on is the Motor Vehicle Express Kiosk, or Motor Vehicle Express. We have 5 actual machines in Publix throughout the county, where you can go in and do your title renewal, or your driver's license. If you don't need a new driver's license, a new copy, you can do that. But that's working well, and we've had to work with the company that we're working with. They're only putting these kiosks in Publix, and that was a contract with the state that we really had no control over. We are begging them for more of them, but they really go into high use Publix, not the Publix here on 2nd Avenue. It would not go in there. But it has helped us take some of the business out of our office. And then, November the 1st, we have 690,000 tax bills to go to Palm Beach County homeowners. So it'll be challenging. It always is, even though we have about 700,000 properties, actual properties. We only mail 609,000. And then we have our legislative priorities, which the Florida Tax Collectors Association, in addition to the ones we have, they develop their own list of priorities. So we're working on that and should have that information by August at our state conference. And I hope I haven't bored anybody, but if you would like to ask questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
And I believe Steve Wiseman has a comment.
Okay.
Steve?
No, not really. I have some things to share as far as proposed millage rates for later.
Oh, okay.
But Ann, you were spot on everything you said about property taxes and how they're our values and how they're calculated. The only thing I'll add is that yes, on tangible, there's $25,000 exemption on the first $25,000 of personal
Right.
property. But in order to get the exemption, you have to file an initial return. And unfortunately, people that come down here from up north and use accountants in New York and New Jersey, they don't know that.
That doesn't surprise me.
Anything else you want to share now, Steve?
I can, or do you want to wait till I
Yeah, well,
answer?
yeah, you have the
Go
floor.
ahead.
All right, I'm going to try to screen share here. Let's see if this works.
Good luck.
Where is it? Ah, that's what I want. All right, so can everybody see the notice of proposed taxes?
Yes.
All right, so
Steve,
this is-
introduce yourself quickly so
Oh,
everyone
hi,
knows who
I'm
you
Steve
are.
Weissman. I'm manager of the Personal Property Appraisal Department for the Palm Beach County Property Appraiser's Office. And we will be mailing out on August 18th trim notices, which stands for truth and millage. It's notice of proposed taxes. And I'm going to just really quickly show you what it is, but I do have the proposed millage rates that may not be the final, but they'll tell you as high as it could possibly go. Timing is everything, and unfortunately, we're getting our test notices from the printer today. We don't have them yet, so this is a last year's, but it's the same. And this is one side of the notice of proposed taxes, and it you can look at the market value if you want. Now, I can tell you this year where it says in 2020 it was 100,000 on this property, and this is a fictitious one, by the way. And in 2021 it went up 5%. It's going to be more like 20% or more this year, but that's market value. That's not. If you have a homesteaded property you've owned, it's a 3% increase this year. And if you have a non-homesteaded, it will probably be 10%. And basically this first page has what the assessed value last year, this year, any exemptions. This is homestead, by the way. And taxable value. Please notice the additional 25,000 homestead does not apply to the school district. And then there are any assessment reductions. There's the cap, which last year was 1.4%. And this year, of course, because the CPI in January was 7%, it went to the full 3%. And then any exemptions applied. But here, now, one thing that everybody should look at on this page, it would save our office and Ann's office a lot of problem, is the mailing address. That is what we're going to pass on to Ann's office. That's where they're going to mail your tax bill. If it's wrong, please contact us, or you can go online also and fix it and change it so that you will get your tax bill and not say, well, I didn't get my tax bill, so I couldn't pay it. And you've never heard that before, have you?
I always explain to them that they have a responsibility as a property owner. That is a courtesy notice.
It is. Anyway, here is the important thing. And there are 3 columns. This is last year. I'll show you rates for Delray this year. Column 1 is what the taxes were last year by taxing authority. And there they are. This is a fictitious one again. That real estate parcel ID number in the upper left-hand corner, the 17-digit number, that'll save you a lot of time if you call our office and give that. We can look it up by address and name, but that'll save time. Column 2 is what we call the rollback. That is if the agency, if the taxing authority left their budget exactly the same amount of money they collected last year or this year, that is what they would change the millage rate to. Column 3 is what they're proposing. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean column 3 will be what the final rate is. However, it will not be higher than that. Now, why is the rollback rate there? Just so you have an idea of what the budget's going to be, and because should by the statutory deadline, the taxing authority not send us their proposed rate, it's the rollback rate by state law. And down below is non-ad valorem, which we have nothing to do with. Please don't call us about that. Call the individual agency. Solid Waste Authority, the landfill, is the most common question I get is, well, I'm already paying the city to collect my trash, or the county. No, this is the right for your trash to go in the landfills. And there is Delray Beach. All right, there was the 2021 final by fund name is what it's called. There's the rollback rate if they left it the same. So notice, if everyone went to the rollback rate, the millage rate would be reduced by 13%. All right. However, there is the proposed rate. That's the highest it's going to go. All right. Anything in green means they took the rollback rate, which means they did not increase their budget from 2021 to 2022. The yellow means that they decided to not change the millage rate. So instead of it being a reduction, if they had kept the budget the same of 13%, the actual reduction is going to be 3.3%. Now, doesn't mean that's all your taxes are going up, but that's where it sits. And some of the others, if you want to know where the biggest ones are, look at the actual millage rates, county operating, the school district, both the state funds and the local funds, Delray Beach operating. So there it is, everybody. And since it's being recorded, if you want to review it, I guess you'll be able to see it that way. And I'm going to stop screen sharing.
Thank you, Steve. Quite timely. I'm so glad that you prepared that. Thank you.
You're
Yeah, that
welcome.
was good.
Okay, any questions for Ann? Okay, it was great information, Ann. Thank you. Such a great presentation, as always.
Thank you for having me.
Will your presentation be available for us to give out if anybody needs it?
Oh, yeah. You have a copy in the chamber office.
Okay, great.
It's on a jump drive. You're welcome to use it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Let's go to our partner, Stephanie. We could go to Renee Jadis, singer of the Executive Director of the CRA. Renee, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for that presentation. It was very informative. And good morning, everybody. So a couple things that we have happening. So there is a groundbreaking this morning for Island Cove. I know I've mentioned this in the past. This is a project that with the Delray Beach Housing Authority is building about 60 affordable units in the Southwest neighborhood. So there's a groundbreaking today at 10 a.m. The address is 900 Southwest 12th Avenue. So if you're around, available, come by. There's going to be a little bit of a celebration going on over there. So really exciting about that. Also, the CRA has a ribbon cutting for one of our site development assistant recipients. It's South Florida Disc and Spine. That's next week, Friday at 4 p.m. And the address is 104 Southwest 11th Avenue. So that actually is in the Southwest neighborhood. This individual bought this building a couple years ago, and we're really excited they're finished with their build out. Also, our next board meeting is going to be September 1st, and we are going to be discussing our proposed budget. If you actually look back at our last board meeting, we do have a summary if you want to just take a look and see what we have planned. A lot of what we're doing is just kind of continuing with the projects that we have, focusing mostly on the Northwest Southwest neighborhood, West Atlantic area. So you can take a look at that presentation. It's pretty much going to be the same, but we will go over it again September 1st. And our board meeting on September 29th is when we will finalize our budget. Also tonight at the Arts Warehouse is our Summer Fridays. That's we'll have the Arts Warehouse open in the evening from 6 to 9 as part of the DDA's First Friday Art Walk. So please come out and check it out. Lastly, we have the last green market was last week, Saturday. So the winter green market is opening on October 22nd. So a little bit of a break for green market, but please join us in the winter. That's the big one. So we'll hope to see you there. That's all.
Thank you, Renee. Let's go to Kent Edwards. Kent, you still on?
Yes, good morning, everyone. A lot of things going on. I'll point out
Introduce yourself,
two of
Kent.
the-
Introduce yourself.
I'm Ken Edwards, the Sustainability Officer for the City of Delray Beach. And two things that we have going, the Climate and Art event is coming up, scheduled for September 2 and 3. Have several very good sessions that are coming together. The kickoff will be at Orchard View Park, where we're going to highlight habitat restoration project that we have going on, removal of the invasive plants there that we're really taking off, and going to partner with elementary schools out there. We have after that an event at Arts Garage, where we're going to have a panel that Aaron Deedy is helping to put together, and my counterparts from Palm Beach County and Broward County and West Palm Beach will be talking about resilience and planning efforts in their areas. At Arts Warehouse, we will have a session. Children arts contest winners will be shown there in one of the exhibit areas. And on Saturday morning, September 3rd, we'll have a talk from the Institute for Regional Conservation, talking about historic beach protection efforts up to today's dune restoration, which is really the most effective way. So really excited about those sessions. We have the second project is tree planting, and that was approved in June. We've been working hard with city departments to find properties that we have an interest in or ownership on to get trees planted in those areas, and have identified a few of those, and we'll be planting within the next few weeks. Also identifying partners, and we have a planting scheduled for August 8th at Atlantic High School. The first 20 or so trees will go in there, but we have a couple of other plantings that will be scheduled there. A few other schools, and yesterday I was at the elders table to look for partners in the Northwest and Southwest neighborhood where we can get trees planted there. So hopefully we will have more updates on those in the near future. That's it.
A lot going on. Thank you, Kent. Thank you. Let's go to our economic guru, Sarah Maxfield. Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning, everyone. Sarah Maxfield, Director of Economic Development for the City of Delray Beach. I thought the presentation was amazing this morning and really helpful. So in that same vein, as you all know, budgeting is happening with the city. The first and second hearings are the September 6th and 19th respectively. So if you're interested to see how that goes, those are the dates for you to tune in. Things have been super busy here at the city, as they always have been. A lot of things going on this summer. Stephanie would share with you, I'm sure, that we're really wrapping up the tourism master plan and working with our partners to flesh out all of the plan and the recommendations into executable tactics and division of roles and responsibilities, so that we can really make some headway in all of us rowing in the same direction to get the best tourism benefit and experience for our visitors and our residents, actually. So we're looking forward to moving forward with that. One other thing I wanted to touch on really quickly is the golf course redevelopment. As many of you know, I'm the project manager for that particular project, and we've been working closely with CBRE, our partner, in developing a really intensive RFP that will outline what the commission directed us as their priorities for this project. It is currently with outside legal review, the last draft. We're hoping to issue that August 10th. We may have to push that back depending on what the legal folks come back and tell us we need to tweak or fix on that. But one thing I just want to make everyone on this call aware, and please feel free to share to those who you speak with or talk to or bump into. There's been a lot of chatter about this project. There's been multiple articles written about this project, and the majority of it has been entirely inaccurate. So don't believe everything you're reading and what you're hearing. The city is open to really creative ideas to be able to get this done, meet the needs. And really the focus is bringing this back up to a first-class great facility that has access for more than just golfers, but has more access for the community as a whole. So it's a very small percentage of our residents that actually utilize that property as a whole. So ways to do that aren't going to place the entire burden of the cost onto the residents, many of whom never set foot in that property. So we've left it open for creativity. We're not selling 10 acres. It's not a foregone conclusion. When the RFP comes out, please read it for yourself and understand it. And hopefully that'll limit or mitigate some of the negative chatter that's going on out there. So I just wanted to end on that note.
Thank you, Sarah. I must admit that I caught something on Channel 5 News a couple of days ago. Maybe I didn't hear it correctly, but they seemed to say that the city voted to sell the property, 10 acres, and it was a done deal. That was the impression I got.
Nope, that's totally inaccurate.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the clarification.
You're welcome.
Let's go to our small business guru, Jackie Ramirez.
Good morning. Jacqueline Ramirez for the SBDC at FAU, located here in Delray Beach at the Chamber. Just to stay with the whole topic of taxes, next Tuesday, there is a webinar for small businesses on small business tax preparation 101. And it's open to the public, the webinar. So if you'd like to go onto sbdc.fau.edu, you will find it under events and you can register and join us. Another note along that line is when you get to events, you can search and look at any webinars throughout the state of Florida. You don't have to attend just those given by the FAU SBDC. Your services are local here, but you can reach out anywhere in the state if you see a topic that you're interested in, join that chamber. It's as far as SBDC, it's been a steady, even with COVID over, it's been a steady set of meetings with clients and businesses moving along, and it's been very impressive to watch how Delray has come back. We've done just in the last 3 quarters about 1.89 million in capital formation. We've also contributed to increased sales of about a little under $1 million. So it's it's good to watch how Delray is really coming back and doing well, and it's a pleasure to be here. So thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. Let's now go to Kay Johnson from the library and also our education guru.
Hi there. I just want to remind everybody that the annual education breakfast is coming up this Thursday, August the 25th at Aloft. That event is being put on by the Delray Chamber Education Fund, which is the nonprofit arm of the chamber. Tickets are $40. They are available online at delrayeducation.org, not the chamber website. It's a separate website for the 501c3. We do also have some sponsorships available. We have Alex Price from Office Depot, who is going to be the keynote speaker for the event. And most importantly, we are collecting supplies for the teachers. You may not all know, but you may have heard that a lot of our teachers have to go into their own pockets to provide supplies for students, often just a couple weeks into the school year. So there is a list online of what they need. It's things like copy paper, pencils, pens, notebooks, just the kind of things, cards to send out. Anything you can do, there's drop-off boxes at the chamber, at the library, at the Amazon hub, and several other places around town. And I hope we see you all there.
Thank you, Kay. Stephanie, chamber update. I think we've gotten everybody else.
Okay, I'll make it quick. So we've already had this week, our nonprofit council, our ambassadors meeting, and the first Friday forums and Delray Morning Live. So the first week of the month is always very busy for the chamber, but we do have a couple of events coming up in addition to the Delray Chamber Education Fund breakfast. Contacts and Cocktails is on Thursday, August 18th, and it's going to be at Thoreau Social. And if that weren't enough fun, we're also going to be filming a commercial. We're pulling together a quick commercial to do so. Part of the filming is going to take place at that Contacts and Cocktails. You don't want to miss it. So that's August 18th. And it's going to be a very busy chamber day on Thursday, August 25th. And not only do we have the Delray Chamber Education Fund breakfast, we're having our Focus on Women's Summer Soiree. This is going to be at Sklar Furnishings. We've got 20 vendors that'll be there, so you can do some shopping. There'll be light bites. There'll be wine from One Hope Wine. There's going to be music, complimentary valet. And guess what? It's free. So bring your friends, bring your girlfriends, bring your book club girls. That's what I'm going to do on Thursday, August 25th. Sklar Furnishings is a gigantic space. We can fit a ton of people, and it's going to be a great way to spend the evening with your girlfriends. And that's all we've got going on. Oh, sorry, YPAD. I can't forget YPAD. The YPAD group is going to be at Las Catrinas it's always on the last Wednesday of the month on August 31st. So Delray Chamber members and young professionals 40 and under, please go to Las Catrinas. You'll have a great evening. And that's all we've got for August. And don't forget Delray Morning Live every Wednesday morning. So thank you, everyone. I think that's it. Do our hosts have anything to wrap up?
Michael? Quiet for a change. I think we had a great show.
Okay,
Stephanie,
thank you again.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you again to Ann Gannon and for Steve for chiming in there. Always an interesting presentation. We loved having you. So thanks everyone for joining, and we'll see you on September 2nd, the Friday before Labor Day, as our next First Friday Forum. Thank you. Thanks for coming.
As pleasant as you can talking about taxes. Thanks.
She did great. Thank you again. Bye.